Okay, good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome to what we hope will be an insightful presentation to help you understand the power of this new car crowdfunding concept. So I'd like to say thank you very much for jumping onto zoomshow.live tonight. Before we get started with the presentation, I'd just like to give a quick overview of what crowdfunding is and where it is headed. So why is crowdfunding so popular? This is because it enables ordinary people to do extraordinary things. Crowdfunding is not a new thing. In fact, it goes back a very long way. And many of you have probably already heard of it or even taken part in it, maybe GoFundMe or Just Giving. It is a way of pooling funds together in support of a cause, a creative project, or even a product. Crowdfunding possesses a huge potential for bringing people together in ways that have never been done before. This is not actually something new, although it might seem new. One of the first people ever to realise the actual power of crowdfunding was a guy named Joseph Pulitzer back in the 1800s, when he crowdfunded a little thing called the Statue of Liberty. Okay, so it wasn't actually the statue, that was a gift from the French, but they hadn't actually provided anything to stand the statue on. So Joseph took it upon himself to use a medium he owned, a small newspaper called the New York World, and he urged his readership to give as little or as much as possible to help build the base of the statue. And with the help of the American people, he was able to raise over $100,000 to build the base of the Statue of Liberty, the same base that it stands on today. This is an incredible, fast-growing space, with more and more ideas being funded in this way, each and every day, in your local area and globally across the world. We've all heard about many of these new disruptive technologies. Companies like Airbnb, who don't own a single bed and are valued at over $31 billion. Or Uber, who don't own a single vehicle, valued at over $50 billion. And with cryptocurrencies and shopping portals like Amazon disrupting the banking and shopping arenas. These are the types of industries that we as individuals and entrepreneurs should be seriously looking at getting involved with. This is why I'm so excited about being a part of Privileged Car Club, because it is a superb idea that has the potential of helping thousands of people escape the chains of car finance, as well as all the associated costs of car ownership. And with this crowdfunding concept, we are now making this idea a reality, with the first 3 cars now out on UK roads. So without further ado, let's get this presentation underway. You may or may not be aware, but in 2017, it was reported that 20% or over 20% of our income is spent on funding and maintaining our cars. 20%, that is a staggering amount of money. This affects over 300 million drivers in the United States and over 30 million drivers here in the UK. Privileged Car Club can save you hundreds, thousands of pounds every year, freeing up more money for you and your family. Just ask yourself, would you like to drive any new car of your choice for £50, $75 or €60 a month? If the answer to that question is yes, then you are in the right place. Now, before we move on to the next slide, I just want to read to you a quote by Sir Richard Branson, because I think this really applies to Privileged Car Club and what we have here. He says, if you are not making a difference in other people's lives, you should not be in business. So just keep that in the back of your mind whilst you're listening to the presentation. Privileged Car Club is a revolutionary new concept that is going to totally disrupt the car industry And we have proof that this works. And I will go through this with you very shortly. There's just one thing that I would like to ask each and every one of you tonight. And that is just to be a little bit open-minded. Change your mindset a little, as we are going to show you a new way to finance a brand new car. You can forget the old way that typically includes car finance with high interest. You can say goodbye to expensive loans, high insurance and costly repair bills. We've all heard of Uber, Airbnb, Facebook, Amazon. These are all disruptive models that challenge the traditional way of doing things, bringing more choice and a better price to the customer. But we were not invited to the launch party for Amazon. But with Privileged Car Club, you are invited. You are here tonight. So please congratulate yourself for being on this webinar tonight, and just think how many lives you can change when you start to spread the word about this revolutionary car club. So let's have a look at how this works. Now, there are just 3 simple steps. So the first one is you join the crowdfunding club via the person who has shared this with you, and you join via a referral link. You then find a crowd of just 3 people. So 3 people who want to drive a brand new car. 3 people who are prepared to think outside the box a little. And 3 people who are prepared to go and speak to another 3. And this is how it works. You find your crowd of 3 and you help them to go and speak to 3. And it's simple duplication. We all work together as a team. We use the systems that we have in place, and by that I mean such as this webinar that we run regularly throughout the week. And we've also got live meetings all across the UK, Ireland and United States. And you use these systems and you get to work and you work towards getting yourself qualified. So how do we qualify? Well, we get qualified again in 3 simple steps. So there's you at the front. And as I mentioned, you need to have a crowd of 3 people. So you need to have 3 direct referrals, 1 in each pool. Now, there's 2 different setups here. So the first one is the £20,000 package, which is €24,000 or $24,000. If you want to drive a more expensive car, then you would go for the £30,000 or €36,000 or dollars. So let's look at the first one. So you need to build a funding pool of 81 members. So as I mentioned, you've got your 3 in your crowd, your 3 direct referrals. They go and speak to 3 people, and they continue that, and they speak to 3 people. And you need to build it up to 81 members. You need to have a minimum of 20 members per pool. So you've got 3 small pools there within your 81. Now, the reason you have to have a minimum of 20 is to make this a fair system where we are helping each other. So once you have your 81, if you've got 20 in each of your 3 pools, that means that they are at least 25% towards getting qualified so that they can drive their brand new car. So 20 plus 20 plus 20 is 60, and the other 21 members can come from any of those 3 pools. Like I said, if you want to go for the more expensive car, you would then build a funding pool of 125 members. And you must have a minimum of 30 members per pool, and the remaining numbers can come from any of those 3 pools. But the principle is exactly the same. 3 direct referrals, and then 20 or 30 members per pool. Okay. You also have to be a member of Privileged Car Club for at least 3 months before you can actually take your car if you are qualified. You also need to be at least 21 years of age. Now, we do have some members who are 20 years of age, but they, of course, have to be 21 by the time they qualify. Now, what happens is once you have built your funding pool to 81 or 125, then that's it, job done. You are now qualified, because that means that the money is in the crowdfunding pot. So you will have £20,000 or £30,000 to pay for the tax, the insurance, and the car itself. So you get to drive your brand new car, and you get to choose your brand new car. So this is not something the company are choosing. This is a car of your choice. So you drive it for 2 years, and then the car comes back to the club. Now, this is where the company become asset rich. This is where they make their profits. The car is then sold on, and you then get to take on your next new car, so long as your funding pool has been maintained and so long as you are a paid active member. Now, if there's anybody new on this call, I understand that this is probably quite a lot of information to take in. It takes a little while to get your head around it. So that's absolutely no problem at all. Once we get onto the Q&A, we can recap on this, not a problem. So let's have a look at the costs that are involved here. Okay, so for the UK, you pay an annual fee of £199 and £50 every month. So if you sign up, you pay the annual fee of £199. You have a 14-day cancellation period where that would be totally refundable if you decided to not go ahead. But if you're happy to continue, on the 15th day, you then pay your first monthly payment of £50. And then you pay £50 every single month whilst you are a member of Privilege Car Club. In Southern Ireland, it's €240 annual fee, so that's paid every year, and €60 per month. And in the United States, $255 every year and $75 every single month. So again, if there's anybody new on here, we are open in the UK, Southern Ireland and United States. We have had our official launch in the UK, which I will come on to in a moment. And we are planning to have our official launch in the United States at the end of May. And very soon after the launch in the United States, we will be opening in Mexico and Canada. So you can speak to people from Mexico and Canada at the moment, but they cannot sign up until we are actually open. But it's not going to be very long until we can do that. So let's move on and see what this monthly cost includes. So it includes your fully comprehensive insurance, your car tax, the full new car warranties, and breakdown cover. But have a look at that fourth one down there. There is no credit check. Why is this? Because these cars are funded through a simple crowdfunding concept. So we are all members of the club, and we're paying our annual fee and our monthly fee. And that continues. Even once you've qualified for your car, you're still paying your monthly fee because you are helping those members who helped you. And you cannot get your car until you're qualified with so you need 81 or 125 members. Once you have those members in your funding pool, the cash is there. It's sitting there waiting for you to choose your car. The car gets ordered by the company, and that is why there's no credit check, because these cars are bought with cash. So just think about how many people we are going to be able to help. Once the word really starts to get out there, people will realise that Privilege Car Club is literally open to everybody so long as they are over 21 or over. Now, I've been there myself, you know, in the past. A lot of us have. We've had bad credit rating. Very, very difficult to get yourself any kind of car finance. And if they do let you have car finance, then they really, really come down on you with very, very high interest. So Like I say, for me, I think this is incredible. This is a real game changer here. No credit check needed, no finance needed, no horrible loans with high interest, and no deposit. So this is really going to open up this for everybody. There's also no mileage penalty, which is another huge bonus. Now, just to give you an example, in the UK, the average mileage is about 15,000 miles. And if normally if you go over that, you have to pay some kind of penalty. Now, with Privileged Car Club, you will not be charged any more if you go over a certain mileage. All that we ask is that when you give over your details for the insurance, you give an accurate annual mileage. Everybody knows roughly how much they're driving per year, so you just need to give accurate information. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. So let's have a look at how much you can save. Now, this is an example in the UK. It's the lovely new Insignia. This would fit into the £20,000 package. If you were to lease this is one example from the UK, you're paying over £400 per month. That is a big, big financial burden for the average person in the UK. With Privileged Car Club, you can drive the exact same car for just £50 a month. Just take that in for a second. That is a huge amount of money that you can save. You can use this, spend this on other things for you and your family. A massive, massive saving. For those of you that like to drive a more expensive car, if you want to drive a Mercedes C-Class, this would come into the £30,000 package. An example in the UK is you're putting down a £5,000 deposit, which is going to be difficult for the average family, and you're paying £400 per month. But this is for 36 months, so you're really tying yourself up in knots here in some horrible finance plan. With Privileged Car Club, you can drive the exact same car for £50 a month. Just think about how much you can save. So I'm hoping now that you have an idea of the benefits of Privileged Car Club, how the system works. So, you want to know how to join. So you join with somebody's referral link. You then pay your annual fee and you pay your monthly fee 2 weeks later, and then you pay your monthly fee every month thereafter. You use the methods and the systems that I've explained to you, and you work together with your team and you work towards getting yourself qualified. It's a straightforward process. There's nothing complicated about this. But what I love about it is that this is accessible for everybody. And there's no time limit here. Okay, we're all different. Some people will join the club and they will qualify within 3 months. They will qualify very, very quickly. Other people will take 6 months, 9 months, maybe 12 months. It doesn't matter. You work at your own pace. Obviously, if you want to get your car quickly, then you would introduce more people. But remember, you can only have 3 direct referrals. So once you have your first 3, then the 4th person that you bring in is then placed under one of your 3. So you're helping your other members. Okay, I'm going to go through something that is a bonus. It's something additional to what we've mentioned before, and this is called a re-entry. So once you've qualified and you're actually driving around in your car, you can actually do what we call a re-entry, and this is optional. But this, I was blown away when I understood the power of this. So I'm going to just explain this to you. When you re-enter, you actually re-enter and build another funding pool of 81 members. Now, when you re-enter, you pay the annual fee, but you do not pay the monthly fee again. You just pay the annual fee when you re-enter. And what I love about this is that the system will re-enter you in your weakest pool. So you've got 3 pools, if you remember, and one of them is going to be a little bit slower than the other 2. You know, we're all human, we all work at different rates. So one will be the slower pool, one will be the faster pool. So you come back into your weakest pool, which means that as you start to build your funding pool, you're helping those people that helped you to get your car. And this is what crowdfunding is all about. Members helping members. Now, why would you want to come in and grow another funding pool? There's 3 reasons why you would want to do this. Now, you can upgrade your car after 2 years. So if you wanted to, after 2 years, you could add another £20,000 or 24,000 euros or dollars to your original car. So that means that you could actually be driving around in a £40,000 or £50,000 car. Now, for me personally, that's not really an option. That's not really of interest to me. I'm quite happy to drive a car of £20,000 or £30,000. I'm more interested in the last one, which is the advertising allowance. Now, if you grow this pool to 81 members and it's maintained, you can then take an advertising allowance of £1,000 or $1,200 or euros. Because you're the perfect advert, you're the perfect ambassador for the club. You're driving around in your brand new car. So of course, what do we do when we see a brand new car? We always compliment that person. We always like, oh wow, that's gorgeous car. Where did you get it from? How long have you had it? Can I have a look? Can you take me for a drive? You're the perfect advert. It will be very easy for you to come in and grow another funding pool. And just think what you can do with that money. Just think what freedom, financial freedom that can provide for you and your family. £1,000 a month, that's going to cover your annual fee and your monthly payments, and you've got some left over. And that's just 1 month's advertising allowance. And there's no limit to how many times you can re-enter, because every time you re-enter, you pay the annual fee. And you're growing another funding pool of 81 members, which means that they're all paid active members. So you have got a pot of cash of £20,000 or 24,000 euros or dollars. And there's another option on there that I haven't mentioned, and this is fantastic. What you can also do, you don't want to take the advertising allowance, or you don't want to upgrade your car after 2 years, you can actually use that pot of cash to get a second car for somebody in your family. So maybe your husband or your wife or your son or daughter, they're not a member of the club, but they can actually then have that second car because you have re-entered and grown that funding pool. So this is what we call a re-entry. And yeah, I mean, I was, once I understood Privileged Car Club, I was so excited that I could drive a brand new car. But when I learned about the re-entry, I mean, that was it. I was really blown away. So again, if there's any new members on here and you want us to recap on any of this, then not a problem. We will do that once we get to the Q&A. So let's just do a quick recap. So you have joined the club. You have paid your annual fee, you've paid your monthly payments, you're an active paid member, you have got yourself qualified, so you've grown your funding pool of 81 or 125 members, and then you get to do the fun part. You get to choose the model and spec per your budget, and then the company will order the car for you. So they take care of all of that for you. You don't have to worry about speaking with dealerships and negotiating. That is done for you by the company. So the club is the owner. They pay the tax and the insurance. So that comes out of the budget. And you are the qualified registered keeper and an ambassador for Privileged Car Club. If you want to, and it's optional, you can do the re-entry and repeat the same process. And as a qualified club ambassador, once you're qualified, Again, you can build a second car funding, upgrade your original pot of cash, or receive the monthly advertising allowance. Okay, so let's move on to the fun part now. So we've gone through the concept and how the company works. So this is a photo here of me and John with the CEO, Andy Wall. And this was back in January. It was one of the first meetings in the UK in Birmingham. Now, we both live on the southeast coast of England. And yeah, it was around 7-hour trip to get to Birmingham, but we really wanted to go there to meet Andy, to go and listen to the company presentation, to meet him, the other directors, also to meet his lovely family who are working hard with him and supporting him. And it was one of the best things that I can honestly say that I've done, because I got to meet other team members as well, which we can have a look at on the next slide. And yeah, it was just unbelievable to meet him face to face, ask him questions directly, understand how Privileged Car Club came about, and to understand his vision for the company, which we will mention in a little bit later. And it's really important to go to these live meetings. So there's bound to be a live meeting in your area. So just speak to the person who introduced you to the car club and find out where they are and get yourself along to one of those. I can't recommend it highly enough. So in this photo, you can see Evelyn and Fola. We've got Sharon, Karen, we've got Derek. And on the right-hand side, we've got Alan, the guy with the scarf around his neck, with his wife, Jan. Now, Alan is the first member in the UK to be qualified. We will come on to that in a moment. So, yeah, as I said, it was a fantastic event. But this was even better. This was just almost 2 weeks ago now. On the 1st of April in the UK, we had the official launch for Privileged Car Club. And John and myself were at this event. We would not have missed it for the world. It was on Easter Sunday, but there were over 400 people at this event. Now, what you can see there on the screen are the first 3 cars, and those pictures were taken outside the event. So Alan was the first person to qualify, so he took his Audi Q3. Prem was the second, so he chose the Volkswagen Passat. His car was valued at £36,000. Now the club was able to get that car within the £30,000 package. So the club were able to negotiate a very, very good discount. Now, this is not guaranteed, of course, but because the club are paying cash, they're always going to be able to negotiate some kind of discount. But like I say, this was worth 36k. So, this is brilliant, because in 2 years' time, when Prem hands the car back, it will only have been driven for 2 years. So obviously the value is going to be higher than, the average person will give their car back after probably 3, 4, 5, 6 years. But because we got it at such a discount, obviously there's more value in the car when it comes back, which is coming back into the company. And then you can see Devon's car at the end, which is a very, very nice Mercedes. So these 3 cars, they all came into the £30,000 package. And these members are paying just £50 a month, and that is including tax and insurance. Now, at the launch, they were handed the keys and they drove away in their beautiful new cars. So as you can imagine, it was an incredible event. The atmosphere in the hall was just brilliant. It was one of the best days of my life. I can honestly say that, hand on my heart. There are just a few other photos there. We've got Prem at the top, as you can see, with a very, very big grin on his face. We've got Devon at the bottom holding his keys for his brand new Mercedes. Again, smiling like a Cheshire cat. And in the middle there, you can see John, and he is with Ali Mavani. He is our first qualified member from the United States. So it was amazing that he flew over from the US with other people as well. It wasn't just Ali, and he got presented with his car. Well, he got presented on stage. Of course, he will actually take the car in the US. So it was great to meet him. And that's me, bottom right, with my husband. And I'm also there with Fola. She's a member of the UK. She's a very active member. She's just done one of her live events in Romford in Essex last weekend. And I also qualified, so I was given my token key. So yeah, it was a fantastic day for myself as well. So just to give you an idea of what happened at the launch, it started at 4 o'clock. We went on to about 8 or 9 o'clock. So there were lots of speakers. We had the directors up on stage, obviously Andy himself, Maurice, Graham and Nadia. We had a very good presentation by the IT guys, which are Chris and Gurpreet. So they went through what they've been working on behind the scenes. They're working very, very hard, and I hope any members on here would agree with me that anything that they create for the club is very, very professional. But it was very interesting to hear what they have planned for the future, because obviously Privilege Car Club is new at the moment, but it's going to grow very, very fast, and they want to make sure that we've got everything in the back office to support us as members. So there's lots and lots of new things coming, and you're going to start to see new changes in your back office over the next few days and weeks. And the way that Chris described it was like they're more advanced tools. He was talking about kind of like smart technology, which will help things flow seamlessly. So there will be like a personal assistant when you log in. You will get told when you get a new sign up, you'll get a text message as well. We were also shown the new PCC video, which we all absolutely loved, very professional. But this email will actually be in our, there'll be an email facility in our back office soon, where you'll be able to email directly to your prospects, and the video will be incorporated into that email. So there were many, many other things. I won't go into them in too much detail. I don't want to keep you too long on the call. But yeah, there's a lot of new stuff coming. We also got to hear from Martin Congleton. He deals with the compliance, so a very, very important part of Privilege Car Club. Now, he is working on member benefits. Now, you know, if a brand new car wasn't enough, they are going to be bringing in monthly member benefits in the next couple of months. We don't have an exact time, but Andy was hoping in the next few months. So when you're paying your monthly fee, you're also going to have an extra benefit because you're doing that. And he was able to mention names in the UK, such as Argos and Halfords. So that we will be able to get vouchers or something similar from these companies. He also mentioned Disney, would you believe, and also an orange retailer. He also told us that Privilege Car Club are in discussions with one of the world's largest insurers. Now, Privilege Car Club, you know, is getting a lot of interest from outside. And he couldn't give us the name because obviously they're still working on the deal. But there's a lot coming, guys. There's an awful lot more coming. You know, we've only literally got started. We also heard from Max Garza III. He came over from the US. He is a cryptocurrency and ICO specialist, and he was part of the team behind Dragon Coin. And it was great because after the event, he actually went off to Ireland and he did a meeting there with some of our members. Now, he's going to be part of the team that create our cryptocurrency car coin. So this is very, very exciting. This is something, again, extra that you can benefit from by being with Privilege Car Club. And he's holding webinars every Saturday where he's doing cryptocurrency training. And this kind of training would normally cost a lot of money, but this is free for all Privileged Car Club members. So that's just a quick summary of the launch. So let's just move on to the last few slides. So just, you can see there on the left-hand side, there's John with JJ. JJ's from London. We got to meet him. He's part of our team, so that was brilliant. You can see behind them, you know, that's quite a packed room there. Like I say, it was about 400 people, I believe. And then on the other side, there's me with Karen. So she's the lady who introduced me to Privileged Car Club. And Sarah, she is also part of our team. So it was fantastic, you know, to meet up and connect with people that, you know, we're all working together. We're all part of one big team. So it was, yeah, it was a wonderful event. And this photo just says it all to me. You can see the energy and how happy everybody is. That's Max Garza at the front. He was trying to do a selfie, but we had to do it in three shots because there were so many of us. But yeah, I love that photo, and I think that's pretty much gone viral, that one. Okay, so just going to finish off now. There is no doubt in my mind that Privileged Car Club is going to totally disrupt the car industry as we know it. They will help families all over the world to save thousands of pounds, dollars and euros every single month, every single year. Families like myself will be able to drive a brand new, safe, economical car, saving thousands of pounds every year, giving us a higher disposable income, easing that financial burden. I, for one, feel very privileged that I was introduced to Privileged Car Club. So please make sure that you get back to the person who shared this webinar with you and join us today. And I just wanted to share this slide with you. You might be thinking, what's this about, Privileged House Club? This is just to give you an insight as to what is to come further down the line. Now, Andy Wall, the CEO, he had this idea of a house club over 20 years ago, but realised, although he had this fantastic idea and he had it all worked out, it wasn't the right time to launch. And he decided that this was probably a little bit too much for people to get their head around at first. And that is why he created Privileged Car Club. Obviously, everybody knows what a car is. Practically everybody drives a car. So this is where we are at the moment with Privileged Car Club. But his ultimate goal is to actually launch a house club. He wants to help ease the burden of debt which so many families are going through. And he has said that once we have 500 cars on the road, then he will be launching Privileged House Club. So everybody, we know we need to get sharing. We've got over 1,000 members already. We've got 3 cars in the UK that are actually on the roads. We've got more people qualified who are now ordering their cars. And we've also got at least 1 person qualified in the US. So we need to get sharing this, guys. Just keep talking to people, keep getting the word out there. And then we will be launching the House Club. Now, I just wanted to pop these slides in at the end. This is me and my family. As I mentioned, I have just recently qualified. So this was a fantastic afternoon for us. We did this a couple of days ago. Some of you may know I drive a very, very old car, which is on its last legs. It's about 20 years old, my car. And the reason I kept this car was because I did not want to get caught up in car finance. I've been looking at car finance for the last couple of years. And for me, the figures and the depreciation with a car, it just didn't add up to me. And I just held off. And thank goodness I did, because last October, I was introduced to this fantastic club. So there we are testing lots of different cars. As you can see on the right, that was my children's favourite. That was the Citroen. And the one that I am going to go for is the MG ZS. So this fits into the £20,000 package. I can honestly tell you, this day was a little bit overwhelming for me. I haven't looked at a brand new car since I was in my early 20s, which was a long, long time ago. So I was a little bit like, whoa, when I got in the car, you know, there's all these buttons, and the sales guy was telling me that it's got this, this, and this. And I was just like, okay, my car has got a radio. I have actually got air conditioning in my car, which is quite unusual for a 20-year-old car. But yeah, you know, I'm driving a very, very basic car. So as you can imagine, it was a fantastic afternoon for me. Okay, so I just want to say thank you very much for listening to the presentation. I am just going to share with you, you may have just heard an aeroplane just flew over our house, so I apologise if you've got any background noise then. I'm going to share with you a 2-minute video from the company, and then we're going to go into Q&A. So just bear with me whilst I share my screen.
We are living in an amazing era, teeming with technology and new ideas. New concepts, together with people power, are changing the world we live in. We would like to introduce you to a revolutionary crowdfunding club concept for driving new cars, designed to help people, especially those with families. We love our cars. Most of us desire and treasure them. They are an essential part of our lives. We use them for work and pleasure. But what's the problem? Repairs, fuel, insurance? You can say goodbye to 20% or more of your income with these. Then there's depreciation, as well as the high interest on finance. That's if you can get credit. But what if we can show you a revolutionary new way to solve this problem by helping one another? With Privileged Car Club, we can. It's new and it's radical. It's an idea whose time has come. Using our unique membership program, we have found the answers to these problems by helping each other. By joining our private members' reward-based crowdfunding club. PCC plus people equals PCC cars. You don't own them, but you help fund them, so you get to drive them. There are no large deposits, no extortionate monthly interest payments, no depreciation. A small regular monthly payment takes care of all costs, except for fuel and cleaning. You just enjoy a brand new car of your choice every 2 years. Sounds too good to be true? Well, it is true. We already have members driving their brand new cars on the road, and we have a fast-growing membership. New cars are being added every month. All of this from our humble beginnings in August 2017 in the UK. And more countries are opening up soon. With Privileged Car Club's community membership, expensive car costs are a thing of the past. Welcome to the future. Contact a member who will help you and show you how you can drive a brand new PCC car of your choice every 2 years. Not only that, but as a PCC ambassador, you can build a career just by helping others do the same as you. This is an option available for you to choose as soon as you are driving a PCC car. Be part of the future. Be part of PCC.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that video. So, John, if you're there and you want to unmute, and we can go through any questions.
Yeah, right. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Could you hear me okay through the presentation?
Yeah, all sounded superb. Well, great job, Mireille. Right, so we've got one. It's Ron Jones has got his hand up. So, Ron, if you want to unmute yourself, if you've got a question, let me unmute you. Hi, Ron. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Did you have a question, sir?
Well, yes, I do actually. I was just asking a colleague about the house deal possibly in the future.
Yeah, it's exciting, right? Very exciting about Privileged House Club. Unfortunately, like we said, there are not going to be any details released until there are 500 cars out there on the roads for PCC, because then more people will get a basic understanding of the concept, and so will, you know, be more open to such a concept. Because let's face it, a mortgage, a crowd-funded house is a pretty incredible concept, right?
Mm. Well, crowdfunding seems to be very popular all around the world, isn't it?
It absolutely is. You're absolutely right. I mean, I always recommend, guys, you know, if you've never seen anything like this, I certainly hadn't when I first got involved. Go and do a little bit of research. Go onto YouTube, research things like collaborative community, the collaborative economy, crowdfunding. Another good episode is an episode by a company called TEDx. So if you type in TEDx and then crowdfunding, you'll come across some really good informative videos about this industry, and it just helps people to get a better grasp of just how massive this industry actually is becoming. So thanks for that, Ron. Okay, we're going to move on, and I believe Jason Lee has a hand up. Jason, I'm going to unmute you, buddy. Hi, Jason. How you doing?
I'm good, mate. Thanks.
Good to speak to you again, mate.
Every time I listen to one of these presentations, I come away with another bigger and deeper understanding. But one thing I want to ask, Mireille mentioned about you can re-enter as many times as you want, but do you need to build to the 81 first, or can you just sort of re-enter once and then maybe re-enter a second time, maybe a month or two later?
So the idea is, once you're driving your car, once you've built your first funding pool of 81 or 125, then you take a re-entry and you build that to 81. Okay? And then you make the option out of the three options you have: the advertiser bonus, the additional car of 20k, or 20,000 upgrade on the next vehicle, and then go and build another re-entry. Yeah, so in effect, it's one at a time. Yeah, you don't want to spread yourself too thin anyway. Do you? You want to build one re-entry, get that job done, and then you'll be repositioned into another weaker part of your funding pool, the original funding pool, and then you build another re-entry. And like I said, there's absolutely no limit to how many re-entries you can take.
Cool.
Does that answer your question, buddy? Is my sound all right? It's really odd being on my mobile phone. Doing this from my mobile phone is really...
Yeah, the sound is good tonight, John.
Good, yeah. I seem to have a better connection for some reason tonight. All good. Okay, so we have... do you want to take the next one, Mireille? I think Michelle has her hand up.
Yep, okay. Can you unmute Michelle?
I sure can. Okay, Michelle, can you hear us? Michelle Hooper. Hang on, let me try again. How's that? Can we hear you now, Michelle?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. So where are you calling in from, Michelle?
Oh, I'm calling from California.
Oh, lovely. Welcome to the call. Mireille?
Yep.
Can you hear us? Okay, go on. I'll leave you to this one.
Okay, so I have a few questions. So someone actually, once you get qualified, how long does it actually take for you to get the car?
Okay, so once you are qualified, let's say you had a couple of people join you last week, and that means you've now got your 81 or your 125. You need to wait for 14 days, because every member has the right to cancel. So legally, obviously, we have to offer that. So once those 14 days have qualified, and you know that those new people have started to pay their monthly fee, so they are an active member, then what will happen is, I believe it's Morris, he's the director, who will contact you, and he will ask you for 2 choices of car, and they will also give the option of a wild card. Now, what I mean by that is that they obviously have now built up relationships with certain dealerships, and that will grow and expand as time goes by. And there may be special deals, special offers that they may be able to get their hands on. So that's kind of how the admin side of it works, and they take all your, obviously your insurance details, and they get all of that sorted out. And then it's basically the order is put in, they order the car for you. So some cars, you know, will be delivered quite quickly, others may take 4, 5, 6 weeks. So it will be dependent on the model of car that you choose. One thing that we did find out recently is when you go to a car dealership, there will be cars that are used. They're brand new cars. They've never been owned by anybody, but they might have literally a couple of 100 miles on the clock. Now, these cars we can also purchase. We checked this with Andy Wall. When that means those cars, you'll be able to get almost instantly. But I think typically for a brand new car, you're probably waiting something between 4 and 6 weeks. Would you agree, John?
Yeah, that's just something that I looked into a couple of weeks ago when I went out and had a look around at my local car dealerships. Hang on, you're going to have to mute out, Mireille, because I can hear myself.
I am muted.
Okay. Right, okay, well, yeah, me and my son went out a few weeks ago to check out the local car dealerships, and what we found was that these cars that are ex-demo vehicles, okay, so the cars that they do test drives in with potential customers, which is what Mireille was just talking about, there were some pretty amazing cars out in the car dealerships with 200-300 miles on them. As long as they haven't been pre-owned, these vehicles are also an option. So that's just also something to bear in mind. Personally, I'm kind of excited about the wildcard cars as well, because you know, I do believe Prem's vehicle was one of the wildcards. He gave the right make and model, but they actually came back. He was looking for the Sport line, and they actually came back with the R line, which is the top of the range as far as the technology goes. And I remember when Prem put the keys in his car, it lit up like a fighter jet. It was incredible. All LED dashboards. And that was one of the vehicles that PCC had actually gone out and found for Prem at the top of the range. So these wildcard cars are also quite an exciting option. So did you have another question, Michelle?
I do. Is there a 1-800 number for customer service?
A 1-800? No. There's Mireille. There's a phone number on the actual website, right, Mireille?
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Yeah, let me just have a look. I mean, I am guessing at the moment. I'm just going to double check. I'm guessing the numbers are UK at the moment.
This will be coming though, Michelle.
Sorry, go on, John.
This is something that will be coming. As obviously PCC grows into the US, they're actually going to have teams within the US. Okay, so admin teams, and this is all, you know, we're so early at the moment. It's only been live for a couple of weeks. So, you know, this is very early days, but as this is something that actually grows, and we know it's going to grow pretty massively in the US, that is when the additional admin will be put in place in the US itself to take care of all this stuff. So to take care of all the insurances. Right now, everything will be done from the UK, but as we grow, it will all be put in place for sure.
Okay.
Michelle, did you have another question?
2 more.
Yeah, go for it.
Someone asked if they worked at a car dealership and we found the car at that dealership, is the salesperson still going to get commission on it, or how does that work? Or is that, I guess, will be through the dealership?
Yeah, good question. I think we would need to confirm that. I have I'll see what John thinks on this, but I have a feeling that it's done at a higher level. I don't think it would be done through the sales reps when you walk into a dealership, but that's my educated guess. John, what do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Mireille. This is going to be going higher than just the local car dealerships. Like I said, we give them the car options that we want. They're not necessarily just going to come to our local car dealerships. They're going to go to the actual distribution network. And then when we get big enough, they can actually be able to go direct to the manufacturers. Okay, so in the early days, it's going to be a win-win for everybody. It's going to be a win-win for us as PCT members, but also for the car dealers. But as we grow and as we get more and more vehicles on the road, it's going to give us more buying power. And then we're going to be able to go directly to the manufacturers and get the same kind of deals that the dealerships get themselves. So, you know, at the end of the day, the car dealers themselves, the majority of them get their basic income, and then they get these commissions on the finance packages that they will sell. Because this is what happened to me a couple of weeks ago when I was going through all of the car dealerships. They were all talking to me about getting on finance, because they all want to get you on a finance package, because that's where the dealership makes more money in the long term. Okay, and that's what PCC is all about. It's getting people out of car finance, out of the chains of the bondage of being tied to a car loan or to PCP or anything like that. This is why Privileged Car Club, a crowdfunding concept, has been developed. So I hope that answers that one for you, Michelle.
Yes. And my last one, someone asked me, so they don't, what happens if they like drive like 20,000 miles? I know it said 15, if you guys should suggest. They do a lot of traveling, so for work.
I'll leave this one to you, Mireille.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yes, Andy has confirmed there will be no penalty for anybody going over the 15,000. Now, you know, the large majority of people aren't going to, but there will be some who do, and that's absolutely fine. So obviously some cars which come back are going to have lower mileage, so we're going to get a better price for those. Other cars will come back with higher mileage, so we won't get as quite as good a price, but they're still only going to be 2 years old. Now, the reason that we put the 15,000 on the presentation, it's really just we don't want to, how can I put this? We don't want to go out there and broadcast the fact that there's unlimited mileage, because it can give across the wrong impression. And obviously we want people to, be proud to be a member of Privileged Car Club, to protect the club, and obviously to protect the car as well. So that's why it's put on the presentation, so it's not misleading and it doesn't sort of attract the wrong kind of thinking, if that makes sense. But Andy has confirmed that there will be no penalty, no fee for going over the mileage. Does that answer your question, Michelle?
Yes.
Yeah, fantastic. Did you have anything else?
No, that's it for today.
Okay, no, brilliant. Thank you, and thank you for joining us from the US. It's we're very happy to have you here, so thank you very much.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you.
And John, do we have any more? I think we've got one. Jason's put a question here. Can our pools consist of a mixture of UK and USA members? Yes, absolutely, is the answer to that.
Nice and simple, that one.
Yep, we like those questions.
Right, guys, if you've got any other questions, then feel free to either raise your hand, put them in the chat, or feel free to unmute yourselves. But if there's nothing else, then I guess we could call this a wrap. My battery's running low. I've got to remember to plug my phone in.
Sorry, can I ask a question?
Hi, who's that?
Hello?
Hello.
Hi. Hello?
Yeah, go for it, Rose.
Okay, so my question is, I know it's probably going to be a no, but I had someone say to me that if they've got the full Christmas up front, so instead of paying £50 a month, if they can pay the £749 or £99 for the year in one go, Is that a possibility, or do they just have to pay it each month?
I honestly don't know. I've never been asked that before.
Okay.
But we can find out for you.
Yes, please, because I do have a couple people that are like, they're fully interested, but they're just like, well, I can pay that now. So I know that everybody's in that position to run them, but some people, you know, they're interested in getting the car because they don't have the additional, just what I mean, outgoing, just £50, but like I can pay the 700-800 or whatever it is now. So yeah, we could find that out. That would be great.
You know what I would say, Rose? I would ask them, you know, what difference would it make? I think the way that this whole concept is structured is that we have our monthly subscriptions, membership fee, whatever you want to call them, set up through the direct debit.
So it's direct debit. Okay, because I know not everybody always, you know, might have that set up or so on and so forth. So, okay. So in other words, they just need to have a set up direct debit and they can make the payments that way. Because I know some people will just be like, here, take the cash and can you just set up these arrangements for me, if you see what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we'd have to just clarify that one. But personally, I would say, you know, membership is a monthly thing. Just like we pay for our TV, just like we pay for our phones. It's no different here. But obviously, there's a reason that they want to do that, because that keeps the funds coming in a continual flow, so that we're funding one another's vehicles in the correct manner. But yeah, Mireille, if you want to get on to Andy when you get a chance, and we can clarify that one.
Yeah, I will do. And Rose, are you in the WhatsApp groups?
No, I'm not in the WhatsApp groups yet.
Are you a member of the club?
I haven't signed up as yet, but I will be signing up ASAP. But I'm still obviously trying to get my people so that once I am ready to sign up, I'm ready to go. So I'll be in the WhatsApp groups as soon as I've signed up, I'm guessing.
Okay, so how can once I find out, how can I contact you?
On Facebook?
Yeah, okay, I'll find you on Facebook.
Yep. All right, send me a friend request on Facebook. I'm Rose. And yeah, we can talk that way, if anything.
Okay, lovely. Thank you, Rose.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, we have one more hand up with Ron. Ron, I'm going to unmute you, buddy. Okay, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you well.
Excellent.
The question I have is, can you earn an income on top of this?
Absolutely. Now, this is we call it an advertiser's bonus, Ron. So we went over this in the Mireille went over this in the presentation. But basically, you can, once you've qualified for your first vehicle, so you've either built a pool of 81 or 125, you're now driving a car, you become what the company calls an ambassador. So you're a driving advertisement for the company. Okay.
Right.
Now, they give you an option to take what's called a re-entry. So you pay another annual membership, okay? No more monthlies, just pay another annual membership. The company will place you in the weakest part of your current funding pool, and then you get building again. You find another three, who find three, who find three, and so on and so on, until you build another group, another funding pool of 81 members, okay? Once that's done, you can take an advertiser bonus of £1,000 or $1,200 or euros per month. That's a monthly advertising bonus that the company will pay you if you choose that. There's the other two options as well, the 20,000 upgrade or the second car. So yes, you can actually develop a revenue, okay, but it's called an advertising bonus. We don't want to promote the income side of it, to be honest. This is just an additional bonus for qualified members. So once you've qualified for a car, you can then start growing an income.
Yeah, that's great. And the final question is, can I introduce anybody in Europe?
You can certainly start talking to people in Europe. We're not actually open in Europe at this time. Okay, we're operational in the UK, in the USA, and in the Republic of Ireland. We've plans already underway to go into Canada and into Mexico, and I believe Spain. And I heard rumours of Latvia as well for some reason, whether that's true or not. But obviously, once we get launched into the USA, which is happening around the end of May, beginning of June, then things are going to progress pretty rapidly from then on, and Europe won't be far off. I mean, I'm very eager to get us into Europe because I've got a lot of family and friends in Europe as well. So it's all on its way, but they want to do it correctly. They want to launch in every country, ethically, with all the right rules and regulations, all the boxes being ticked. They don't want to rush into anything, which for me is, you know, I think that's a great way of looking at it. I mean, I've been in businesses in the past that have launched and have tried to go global within seconds and have crashed and burned. So it's going to be a step-by-step process, but Europe is definitely on the way.
An ethical company, it's a question
Absolutely.
of legalities, isn't it?
Absolutely, and they want to get all the legalities squared away before they launch. So they're actually going through the legalities with the FCC in Canada at this moment in time. So they're getting everything squared away before they launch into Canada.
Excellent.
Hope that answers all your questions, buddy.
No, brilliant, thank you.
No problem. Okay, if no one else has got any questions, Mireille, I think we've done a fairly good job tonight. Thanks everyone for jumping on tonight. Hope we've answered all your questions. If you've got any other questions that you want to ask, then feel free to get back to whoever's invited you to this presentation. Mireille, do you want to...
Yep, I will finish off. So thanks a lot for your help, John. And yeah,
Pleasure.
big thank you to everybody for joining us tonight. As John said, if you've got any further questions, then get back to the person who has introduced you to Privileged Car Club. And just so you know, we have our next webinar at zoomshow.live on Sunday, same time, 9 o'clock, that's UK time. And we run them, for the moment, we run them every Tuesday, every Thursday, every Sunday, 9 o'clock UK time, zoomshow.live. So, you know, jump onto the next one and just keep sharing, keep inviting people, and, you know, go on, John.
And bring your guests, folks. This is why we do these webinars. Okay? We do these with the intention of helping everybody that wants to jump on, and bring your guests on, so that we can do the presentation, so we can answer the questions. This is why we do it, to help everybody.
Okay, so if there's no more questions, I am going to end the meeting. So thanks ever so much for jumping on, and have a lovely day wherever you are in the world, the UK or the US. So take care.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Bye-bye.